Hi everybody, and welcome to my first attempt at a screen capture tutorial. Alright, today we're going to be looking at enhancing the eyes in a portrait. And this technique and action actually works really well for pretty much any portrait that the eyes are large enough to be a focal point in the image. So we are going to be using an image from my friend Heather here, as you can see, and Matt. Heather and Matt are from the Mirror Lessons site, bestmirrorlesscamerareviews.com, and they were nice enough to share this image with me so that I could do this tutorial. Alright, so we're going to start off with this image of Heather, and essentially what we're going to do is we're going to brighten and enhance the color in her eyes. Now I know that Photoshop recently has kind of come under fire for being the root of all evil, but I find that I use these techniques quite often with portraits of my family or even commercial portraits that I've done, and it ends up bringing a nice pop to the eyes. We're going to overdo it for this tutorial just so you can kind of see what we're doing, and it makes it a little more obvious, but you can adjust this very easily to bring it down, bring the intensity down, and make it a bit more subtle. So we're going to start off with an action that I've created that I've just called EyeTime Color Enhancement, and this will be able to be downloaded for free via Preset Pond, and you can find all the links on the blog. And we're going to play that action, and we're going to start off on the right hand side. You can see in our panel we have a lighten layer and a paint in color layer. Click on the mask in the lighten layer, and with your brush it should automatically select your brush, and it should automatically be white. If not, you push D for the default, and if you need to switch between the two, hit X. Okay, so with a white soft brush, and I usually keep my opacity at 100% for this, you zoom in on the eyes. Hi Heather. And we're just going to paint in her irises in that mask with white to lighten them up. Stay away from the pupil if you can, and you can switch back to black to paint back in the areas that you might not want. Switch back to white using X. And it's going to look crazy. I give you that. But stick with me here. You can also use this for the whites of the eyes. If the whites are particularly dark, you can lighten them up. I would suggest doing it with a lower opacity, because when you bring the overall opacity back down, you're going to want the irises to be a little bit brighter. Okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and click on the Paint in Color layer. And this is just a normal layer that I have set to a different blend mode. It's in soft light, and we're going to pick a color to use. Now for this, I will drop the opacity down to about 50%. Wherever you need it to be, anywhere between 40 and 60% tends to be okay for me, depending on the color and the effect. I already have this gold color selected, and the reason I do is because in many of our eyes, around the pupil, there tends to be some gold or some orange, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and paint right around the pupil. You can even paint on the pupil if you want. Just to kind of further enhance. What I'm aiming for with this is to enhance the color of Heather's eyes, not necessarily change them. Now we're going to go for the blue, and what I like to do is I'll like to select a blue from the eyes that I'm working on and just pick within that range a slightly brighter color. Find something that's going to look decent. The lighter the color, the brighter it's going to show up in a soft blend layer. And you can go back and forth here. You can use different colors. You could change the color of the eye this way if you really wanted to. And I tend to work from kind of the outside in, and I know that I did the gold first, and the reason I do that is because I want to keep that gold right around the pupil. But now we can go into it and pick, say, a color kind of between that. We'll go for maybe a slightly brighter orange. You can play around, drop the opacity a little bit, and now we can kind of enhance. Now, again, they look a little crazy. We back out. Oh, where are we going here? There we go. Yeah. Heather, I apologize. Kind of made you look like a space zombie or something. what we're going to do is go ahead and select that lighten layer and drop the layer's opacity down. Okay, and it's going to start to make a little more sense. This is going to vary from image to image, and you just have to kind of make a judgment call. Again, with that color, we can drop the intensity of that color by changing the opacity of that layer as well. And for this particular tutorial, we'll go ahead and lighten it up more than I would normally, just to kind of show you what we're doing. Okay, now, I know this is kind of sacrilegious to Photoshop purists, but I'm going to flatten the image once I've got the eyes to where I like them, and I'm going to run my EyeTime Sharpen and Pop. The reason I flatten is just because I don't like working with a million layers, and once I get something to where I know I'm going to like it, I can keep it there and always find it in the history if I need to go back. So with this layer, we're using a high pass filter to sharpen the eyes, also set to a soft light blending mode. All you really need to know is you get a soft white brush. Go ahead and zoom back in on Heather here. And I put the opacity back up to 100% for this, and we're just going to paint in the eyes. This also does really well for eyelashes and creating just a general pop and sharpening for the eyes. And again, it's overdone here, but what we can do is we can decrease the opacity. It's always good to look at it up close and then to look at it in more context. And again, for this image, I've overdone it so that it makes it a little more apparent. Here it is without the sharpening. Here it is with the sharpening. But these are two pretty easy ways and very quick ways to enhance the eyes in any portrait. Obviously, you want to spend a little more time than I've done here, but to quickly show you kind of how we've done it, or how I've done it, it's there for you. That's it. So again, I would flatten the layer here, save size on the file, save it, and we're golden. Now we have Heather's eyes a little bit brighter, a little bit sharper, and it is now the focal point of this particular image, as it was before, but I think now we can look at it and see that the eyes happen to draw our attention a little bit more than they did prior. So there's a nice, quick, easy way to enhance the eyes in any portrait. Go to the blog. I'll have links to download those actions for free, and I'd love to hear any feedback you have. Share images with us on Flickr, and yeah, hope all is going well for everybody. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you around.